So are these cards worth picking up in anticipation for Infinite Forbidden? Make sure you guys smash the link, grab out that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. I think one of the most interested archetypes out of this set is going to be the Madolche stuff. Now, this also means that looking at Salon and all of the already existing Madolche support, you got to ask yourself the question of, do I need to rush out and pick this up? Now, I'll be honest with you, the new Madolche stuff does breathe, some new life into the deck. Having the Tiara Misu that you're able to resolve during the opponent's turn is pretty good. It was one of the best things that they could have given to the deck. But unfortunately, with the sheer crap ton, and I mean the sheer metric crap ton of power creep that we've had, unless the TCG does an immediate dial back on the skillometer, Madolche's, footprint on the meta, I unfortunately don't think will be anywhere near what you're expecting. Also, we don't know what our holiday set is going to be. We do fully expect, that we should probably be getting the big scale reprints for Madolche probably a good couple months after this set release, I would think, right? You would think that they would want to push, a chance to have this set or to have the cards be readily more available. Unfortunately, I'm just going to reemphasize this again. I do not think that the Madolche stuff of old, wanting to pick up the deck now, is the best call, because I don't see a world where this deck, runs out and tries to be the hero. Like, it just doesn't really make sense to me to see this deck, have a place in the upcoming meta. But if there is a dial back and they can manage to, scale things back to the point that, this could be relevant, then that's a completely different story. But only time will tell with that. Now, let's talk about the Gimmick Puppet stuff. Now, Gimmick Puppet was one of the scariest decks going into the Japanese format. I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that the deck has 2-3 different forms of FTKs out here that it could just kind of pull out of left field and then just punch you in the face and have you be like, what just happened here? There's a lot of older stuff that you kind of needed to pick up for whichever version of this deck that you wanted to play. And it's not going to break the bank if you believe that, you can consistently go through your locals experience or your regional experience FTKing people all day long. That's why, Vidos was on such a big watch list out here for so long, because it is an inherent good counter to this deck. Getting the chance to pop your opponent's field spell, which is kind of the thing that, inherently shuts this entire deck's existence off by, handing them a big mons. It's not like impossible, but so we fast forward into the OCG's meta today. Looking at how the OCG has developed and everything, Gimmick Puppets have fallen off. Alright, it was a very good, easy going thing in the very early stages of what we were expecting, but times have changed. We have not had to deal with, this insanity for a little while. So, come the TCG, I think, the very early stages, this will be a deck that you'll have to worry about until, the natural progression of the format sets in. You start to see the Gimmick Puppet stuff, creep out. But this is the TCG we're talking about. You're always going to need to be aware that the Gimmick Puppet deck exists, because you will get hit with it at the most random times going forward. So is it worth it to pick it up? If you want to play the FTK and you think you can get away with it, yeah, 100%. If it's something that you don't want to spend the extra money on, then don't worry about it. It can be an absolute miss here. Now, I want to talk about Runic. Now, the reason why we're talking about Runic here is because the Whitewood's cards. Whitewood Runic has been hyped up to be the variant. We get to play Toy Box. We get to make the little tank and the little soldier. We get these free bodies on the field. And to top things off, we get full access to not one, but 2 fountains in the TCG. This variant is going to be the apex, Robbie. You have no idea. That's what I've been told by every Whitewoods player that I've encountered, is the Whitewood Runic with the toy box stuff is the best thing ever. All right, this deck will comfort you in your sleep. All right, you think about, you know, the old Joshua Schmidt Bysteel build out here, you know, that advantage that you were getting from that. Ah, hell yeah, you're getting that same advantage in this deck, and you know what, it's better. And the only complaint I've had is I've played against this version of the deck 6 times since it's been out, and I've runicked it every single time. Like, this deck has like the worst skill tree matchup in existence. But I do want to emphasize out here, if you're looking at the Whitewood stuff and you want a runic pile deck to have some fun with and to mess around with, I do kind of recommend this. I'm personally not going to be playing this version of the deck. The interactions are cool. The ceiling is really, really high. The only major complaints are, I think, the extra deck space is ungodly. Like, you have to make some very interesting decision trees in the deck build process for this deck. But your end boards are quite an interesting creature for what you'll be able to do. So, is it worth it? Honestly, I think so, if you want to have some fun, if you're a runic main. Next up is the Centurion support. So for whatever reason out here, the TCG we still have King Calamity. All right, like, I'm just going to throw that out there, all right? The only reason why Centurion has remained a formidable force in the meta has been 150% dedicated to the fact that we have our dear friend King Calamity. If you remove King Calamity from the equation, the Centurion pile loses all credibility in the meta. It will fall to the wayside quicker than crap. Yeah, you can do some level 12 synchro plays. That's cool. You're a little bit of a toolbox deck. You can show up to Rogue Knight and people can be a little bit intimidated because Cosmic Blaze, our dragon, is a stupid card and has some very long, interesting text. The reason why I'm plugging in the Centurion stuff here is, you know, if you're kind of fed up with the meta and you're like, oh, you know, I want to go play the King Calamity Turbo, you know, we got the new support, you know. In terms of the new support, you don't need all of it. It's a help, yes, if you choose to play it, but looking at how things are going right now, I'm gonna pass on the new Centurion support. Strictly because I look at the timer that I think that this deck has. Now, if you're playing the splash package of the one Trudea, the one, you know, what is it, the 2 field spells, the 1 Primera, and then the 1 Wake Up and the 1 Phalanx, that's a different story. You don't need the new support anyway, and you can still splash that stuff into the toolbox, you know, 60 card piles, and get away with it for making some synchro plays. I just wanted to throw that out there. And last but not least here is Memento. This deck, now this is the good shit. I think that Memento is going to be very, very underrepresented. I have watched this deck play a lot. I think a lot of people are going to underestimate what this deck can do. Obviously, deck loses to Shifter. I'm not going to sit here and lie to your face and be like, well, this deck, it plays through shit. No, it doesn't. As long as Shifter's creeping around in the meta, this deck's going to have some inherent issues out here. But prices on this deck have been going down. And if you've got time to sit here and dedicate and learn, every hand is like a new experience. You're still going to go down like the same combo ways. It's just different methods of madness to get to where you need to be. A lot of your stuff is a lot of reverse engineering, as I'm going to call it, because like you'll have to go down one line, pull something out of the graveyard, use that to go get something else out of the deck to achieve the same result that it had the first piece stuck that you would have been able to get to. So it's a lot of different pathways that you have to follow in order to get to those results. There's nothing wrong with that, honestly. It's definitely a very interesting deck to learn how to play. And if your opponent doesn't know what the heck they're doing against you, you're going to get those free W's all day long. Like that's another major thing to kind of walk away with here, is just the success rate of this deck is very, very, very interesting. So is it worth it to pick it up? Honestly, if you have time to learn the combos, yes. Yes, it is. If not, don't touch this deck with a 10-foot pole, because it'll literally, your head will hurt. So what do you guys think about everything. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.